Today, I'm talking about reconnecting to yourself and trusting yourself. I hear this from women all of the time that they feel disconnected from themselves. They feel like they've lost themselves in motherhood or in their relationships. And I can relate because 3 years ago I felt very similar in my own relationship. I had really lost myself in motherhood and disconnected from what was really lighting me up in my life. And that took me on a journey, and I've shared a lot of that journey with the Worthy Woman listeners and inside my programs and with my one-to-one clients. And I wanted to really dive into how I rebuilt my connection to myself and how I created a deeper sense of trust with myself after going through this. So if you are a woman, a mother who has struggled with this, I want you to know you're not alone and you're in the right place. And I'm going to give you some tangible, practical steps and powerful questions to ask yourself today. So if you are driving, you might want to pause this and come back to it. If you're at home, get a cup of tea, get comfy, get your pen and paper or however you like to write notes and take some notes, because it's going to be really practical and really helpful for you. So the first thing I want you to get really clear on is, how do you currently feel about your connection to yourself? Do you feel connected to yourself? That's the first step. We need to know right now if you feel connected to yourself. And I like to call this my connection to my authentic self, my soul, my higher self. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but that's the language that I use to describe this connection to myself. So, do you currently feel connected to yourself on that deeper level? And that might bring up some emotion, and that's okay. I want you to honor whatever comes up. Do not judge yourself. We are doing this from a place of love and compassion, so it's really important that there is no judgment in this process at all. The second question I want you to ask yourself is, do you trust yourself? Because these questions, these relationships between our connection to ourselves and trust, there is a very strong connection between these two parts of us. So if you are currently feeling disconnected from yourself, I can almost guarantee that you're struggling to trust yourself. And this shows up with the women that I work with every day. So answer those questions, note them down for yourself so you've got a starting point. The next thing I want you to explore and get curious about is, do you believe you have a soul? And this is something that you may never have asked yourself. I know you do. Every single human being has a physical body, but what makes them who they are, their unique essence, is their spirit or their soul, that energy within you. It really is that part of you that is your light, your gift, your genius, whatever you want to call it. And so many of us in this very mind-orientated, personality-run world, we tend to forget about our soul and we overvalue or overcompensate with our personality. And why I like to bring in the element of the soul into all of my work is, I notice this inner split in all of the women that I work with. Their mind or their ego, which is attached or summed up in personality, goes one way, and then their heart and their soul tends to go another way. And that is what creates a lot of the friction, a lot of the resistance, a lot of the confusion in making decisions in their life and their relationships. So how we get back into alignment is to actually step into authentic power, which is where we really marry the personality and the soul, and we really start to use our personality to serve our soul. And that's something that we'll get into towards the end. It's a much deeper level, and I dive into this inside my Worthy Woman program. But on the first step is to get clear on, do you believe you have a soul? I know you do, like I said, but what matters is what you believe. Because whatever you believe about yourself, whatever you perceive about yourself, is what you will create and experience in your reality. So it's really important that you ask yourself, what is my soul? And I want you to create a definition of what your soul is to you. To me, the soul it's the energy within you that creates purpose. It's unconditional love. It's your unique expression of unconditional love. And there is absolutely no judgment there. It's pure, it's loving, it's where your purpose resides. I don't believe you need to find it, it's already within you. But if you're not connected to yourself, and more importantly, not connected to your soul, you will most likely feel disconnected from your truth, from your purpose, from unconditional love, from all of those things that I really believe create the meaning of life. So I want you to answer that question. What is your soul to you? What does it mean to you? And just get curious. Is that meaning serving you? Is it empowering you? Is it giving you what you need in your life? And you will know that answer. So trust that. The second step that I want to dive into is, how do we actually connect to our soul? So once you've recognized that you have one, which you have now, the second step is to start to connect to it. So I want you to think about how your soul currently impacts your life. Maybe it's not having an impact at all. Maybe you are living mainly from your ego, your mind, and your personality. And that's okay. Like I said, leave the judgment at the door, but just take the feedback. So get curious about how your soul is currently impacting your life. Are you even acknowledging your soul in your life? Are you bringing it to the conversation of your life? Are you bringing it into your relationships? Because that is the answer as to why you're feeling connected or disconnected to yourself and your relationships. There is lots of ways you can build on this connection, and I dive into a heap of them inside the Worthy Women program. But some of my most favorite ways to deepen this connection to my soul is stillness, is just creating moments of stillness for me to literally turn inwards and connect to my soul. And when I create that space to turn inwards and connect to my soul, there is always a feeling, a knowing. Sometimes I will hear guidance. There is always guidance there for me. There is always love. There is always compassion. Basically, everything I need is there for me. And that is true for you too. And if you're not feeling it, it doesn't mean it's not there. It just means you haven't been tending to that connection. So stillness is one way that you can tend to that connection. Another way is nature. Nature has always been a really powerful doorway for me to connect inwards and receive that guidance as well. You could journal, and what I share with a lot of my clients is to actually journal. Use your dominant hand and write a question to your soul, and then use your non-dominant hand to write the answer. And allow there to be a dialogue between you and your soul. And you can do that with your journal and have a conversation with your soul. So that may be a way for you. Another way to have this connection for me has also been through the tool of cacao, and just using that heart medicine to help me deepen my connection to my soul, because the heart really is the way through to the soul. And that's because it gets us out of our mind and into our body. So there are some powerful tools that you can use. There are so many different ways to deepen this connection to yourself. I also recommend to some clients to use tarot cards or angel cards or energy cards, whatever you feel drawn to learn how to ask a question of the cards and receive an answer based on your energy. So all of this can help you build on and establish your connection to your soul. Why this is so important is because if you want to live a life that feels like it's in alignment to your truth, and you want to feel deeply connected to yourself, and you want to trust yourself, all of that is found in your connection to your soul. And if you want to live in harmony with your personality, and you want your personality to serve your life and your purpose, then you really need to bring your personality in alignment with your soul. This is really important because your soul wants to be valued, it wants to be acknowledged, and the more that you value and acknowledge it and appreciate it, the more your soul will shine through you. And that is what you notice when you see a woman or you see a person and they're really connected to their purpose, they're really connected to themselves, they're really connected in their relationships. It's because they first are connected to their own soul, and that is what is shining through them. I've had that reflected back to me in so many women that I've crossed paths with. I was at a retreat recently, and every single woman reflected back to me that they could feel my light. They could feel my light shining through, and they were really attracted to it. They felt like it was a beacon of light. And that, to me, there is no greater compliment than being deeply connected to your soul and allowing it to shine through. For me, then, there is no need for comparison or jealousy or judgment because you're in alignment with your truth and you're connected to your soul. And there is no greater feeling than that. And I really do wish it for every single woman, every single human being. I think it would solve a lot of the world's problems, a lot of the problems we're having in our relationships, definitely, because I know my husband 3 years ago was really disconnected from his own soul, and so I often felt very disconnected from him. As soon as he started to go through this process and acknowledge that he did have a soul and tend to that connection to his soul, I instantly felt a stronger connection to his soul. And this could be playing out in your relationships too. And the answer is to start with you, because how we relate to others is how we relate to ourselves. So if you are not feeling deeply soul connected to your partner, the question you need to ask is, are you deeply connected to yourself on that soul level? And if not, go through this process and start to set the intention to deeply connect to your soul. And then notice the difference in how you interact in all of your relationships, but especially in your intimate relationships. You will definitely notice a difference. It's extremely powerful. There is so much that I want to share around this, but I don't want to overwhelm you. When I work with women one-to-one, we go through a process of really reconnecting them back to their soul. And this is something that I'm really passionate about doing. It's really sacred work. It's really special work. It's really close to my heart. And if you want to know more about how to deepen this connection to yourself, I invite you to check out the Worthy Woman program. It's recently been announced. I'm so excited to share it with you. You can click the link below and find out all the details and all the inclusions. But we are going to be deepening your connection to yourself and building up that worthy woman so that you can trust yourself, so that you can create the deep connection in your relationship that you really desire. I am so excited to work with this limited amount of women. It's only going to be a small group, so I'm really excited to have a really close, connected group of women, and we are all going to be embodying our worthy woman together. And I really hope that you will join me. If you do want to find out more about this, you can click the link below, and I would love to offer you a free self-love session for you to book in and have a chat with me to make sure that this program is what you need right now, because it's really important to me that the women that are attracted to this program are the women that are ready to really step into and embody their worthy woman essence.